Today we are going to be doing some video editing. So the first thing that we need to know, I'm going to go ahead and go into video editing, is that you're going to have to come up with your own video. And I have some recommendations of what you could do recordings on, such as you could do your own how-to video, you could do your own commercial, your trailer for a movie, a music video, a short story. So I am going to be showing you in this example how to do a how-to tutorial. It needs to be at least 30 seconds in length. You got to be able to trim some unneeded footage or bloopers, trim things you don't need. Make sure there's good transitions between your trims, like one scene goes to the next scene with no problems, looks smooth. Add a little music or sound to it if you don't have any sound or music, and then have a fade in and a fade out effect. So the first thing you need to know is how to get the device that you record from onto the computer. So most of you are probably going to be using your phones. I have an Android phone. So when I plug in my Android phone, I'm going to go ahead and open up my files. I'm going to then, when I get into my files to find that Android device, I am going to come over to the left-hand side and I'm going to find this PC. When I click on this PC, it brings me to this menu and I can see all of my devices. So here's my phone that's been plugged in. I'm going to go ahead and go there. And then from there, I'm going to go into my internal storage of my phone. And then I want to go to DCIM. If you have an Android device, you want to click on DCIM. I believe also with Apple devices, it'll be DCIM. When you click on DCIM, then you'll have some other options inside there. You're going to find the option of camera. Once you get in there, you'll have everything on your phone. I recommend maybe sorting it by date or something like that. I'm going to go by type, and then it's going to sort it by the type. And as it sorts, I'm going to go to the very bottom. And on the very bottom, I should put my videos on the bottom. And look, I have my videos. It's going to put them in order of date. And the last thing I recorded was actually the actual video for this assignment. So it's the very bottom because it organizes it all by videos and then by date. Here, I can grab this. I can then right click. I could go ahead and copy it. And then I can go into my documents, my digital literacy folder, my strand 3 folder, my Photoshop folder, and then paste it in here. And then go ahead and paste it in here. And then you'll be good to go for the next step. So the next step, we're going to go ahead and open up Adobe Premiere. And I'll be showing you how to quickly get this into Adobe Premiere and how to trim, fade in, fade out, get your video edited. So while that's loading up, I'll give you a break and I'll be back with you in one sec. All right, now that Premiere Pro is open, go ahead and hit New Project because you're making a new project. Give it a name. I'm going to call whatever it is. Mine is How to Tutorial. Actually, I'm just going to call it How to Winterize Sprinklers because that's what mine's going to be about. And then I want to have a place for it to go to, so I'm going to hit Browse. Inside of Browse, you want to go ahead and go to your Documents, your Digital Literacy folder, your Strand 3. You should have a folder called Video. So here's my video. I'm going to go ahead and go into my video. And after I select that folder, that's where it's going. Perfect. Everything else you see here, just go ahead and leave it and hit OK. Now that I have my new document ready to go, I'm going to go, oh, there it goes. It's loading up everything. We are going to go up and get our video inserted into this Premiere Pro program now so we can edit it. So go up to File, and then from your file, you're going to scroll down until you find Import because we're going to import it from our computer. Now from import, you're going to go and find the file. So again, you just go to your Documents, Digital Literacy, Strand 3, your video editing folder, and then grab your video and go ahead and double click on it. You'll see it'll import the file and put it right here. It's still not done loading. There it goes. You might have saw that circle spin quickly. I'm going to get all of my video information now and get it over to this timeline section. So I grab it, I drag it, and I let it go. And what it did is it took my videos from my file and it put it over here in my timeline section, and it shows what it's in that video right there. So if I was to go ahead and hit play, you can see it's starting to move right here on the bottom, and it's showing the timeline. So I can adjust the timeline where I'm at in my video and skip it right to here. So you can see here in my how-to video. All right, you can see there's the video file right there, and then there's the audio file right there. I also wanted to have another audio file for some music, to have some starting music when I start the video and when I end the video. To get some music files, get some free music, you're gonna have to get some files that are open source, especially if you want to upload this to YouTube. If you try to take a song from your phone that you already have, an MP3 file, and it's any music you like, what happens is when you put it on YouTube, it's going to say there's a copyright problem, and it's not going to let you post your video because of copyright issues. You can only use free things that are open source and don't have copyrights on them. That's why I recommend a web page like freesound.org. So if you register for this account, you can go through and hit sounds, and this is an open source website. Basically, people, just any person out there that likes music, they kind of put together their own mix, and people can download their mix. So let's look at this one, for instance. I'm going to make sure you have some volume so you can hear this one, so give me 1 sec. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and play this. Turn up the volume so you can hear it. Seems great. I'm going to go ahead and click on it. I want to use this one. So then I'll have to come in. You do have, in order to download the songs, you do have to register an account, make an account. Again, you don't have to use this if you don't want. Now that I have logged in, I'm going to go ahead and download this file to my computer. It's downloading right there. When it's finished, I'll go ahead and continue. My file is finished, so I'm going to go ahead and click on this arrow, to the download arrow on the bottom left, hit show in folder. It has sent it to my downloads, so I'm going to come and grab this. I'm going to cut it, and then I'm going to go find my documents, my digital literacy again, strand 3, video, and then paste this audio file into my computer. Now that I have my audio file here, I can go ahead and leave, head back to Premiere, and then I'm going to go to File, Import, and we're going to grab that audio file. And when I do that, you notice it adds to this list. So this is just a list of things you've downloaded. Then I'm going to grab my audio file, I'm going to drag it, I'm going to put it right here. So I have 2 files. So right now if I was to play it, it'd be a mess. Listen up. Raise your sprinkling system in Utah. First, coming from the street. So now my next step, because you hear both audios going at the same time, is I'm going to have this audio start the video and then end the video. So for the beginning of my video, I am going to need to move these 2 files over a little bit, like right there. So when my video starts, it starts with the audio sound, and then it gets into the actual how-to tutorial. So when it gets to this point right here, I'm going to fade out the music, and I'm going to fade in the video. So those will be my next steps, which we'll be doing next. As you notice, it just auto-saved the program, so always make sure you are saving as well. The program will auto-save for you. Now on the left-hand side over here, you're going to notice we have some tools. So I can have my typing tool, my drag tool, my selection tool, my trim tool. So the first thing I want to do with my audio is I want to be able to cut my audio. So I'm going to click on my audio file, and then I'm going to come and grab my cut tool, my razor tool. When I grab my razor tool, I can come and select, as you can see, where I want to cut. So I want the video to display here, and it's going to fade out like right there. So I'm going to cut that in half. Now that I've cut it, I'm going to grab my selection tool, and you can see I can move it over now that I've cut it. So I'm going to have some music fade at the end of the song as well. Put it like right around there towards the very end. And then I'm going to grab my razor tool again and just cut it to fade it out and end the video right there. So now that I've cut it again, I can go grab my selection tool, and this is the part I don't need. I can go ahead and delete that part out just by clicking on it and hitting delete. So now if I start my video, let's go ahead and see what it does. And then it starts my video, and then at the end, my sound will kick in again right here. Doing this, I recommend doing about 3 times, charging up your tank, because it will take a few times to push it all out fully. And now I am all ready for the winter. So you can see the music's still playing. So over here on this file, I wanted it to go, I cut it a little too early. I wanted it to go a little longer. So I can click on this file, and I can get my mouse to look like that, and I can extend it out a little bit to where I want it, and it'll extend the song and remember what I had cut off. So you can see I got a little more there. So when it turns into a red arrow, you can extend it out or the other way. That way if you cut too much, you can always grab and put some more on. So now if I was to play it, can you hear it?
Is your sprinkling system in Utah?
I want my music to start to fade out when the video starts. So what I'm going to do on my next step, now that I have my audio footage, is I'm going to fade this music out right here. And then over here, I'm going to fade the music in. To do this step, you'll need to do the following. First, as you can see on the bottom, I can barely see the audio files. So I want to look on my keyboard and find the plus button. When I type plus, every time I hit plus, it zooms in. So I can zoom in and see the audio file more specific. So I can hit minus to zoom out, plus to zoom in. So I need to zoom in by hitting the plus to see my audio file well. Then I'm going to go up to the effects button on the top of the screen, hit effects. It might take a sec to load. And then on the right hand side, you're going to find audio transitions. Hit audio transitions. And then when audio transitions drop down, hit crossfade. When crossfade comes down, find exponential fade. I'm going to grab exponential fade, and I don't want to put it at the beginning. I want to put it at the end of the music so the music fades out. So in order to get over to that end, I could minus it a little bit so I can see the end. Now I can see the end. I'm going to grab exponential fade, and I want to put it on this end. And when I put it in, I want to put it right on the end like there. There it goes. And as you can see, it's showing the word exponential fade. So if I was to zoom back out how we were originally, like you could barely tell it's there. So that's why you need to zoom in close. Then you can start to zoom in and see where that fades at. So how I have it right now, it's just going to barely, and here I can grab this and drag it over. It's just going to barely fade out. Well, I want that fade to last a little longer. So essentially, I want music to play, and then when the video starts, I want the music to fade out. So I'm going to grab the end of this exponential fade where it says exponential. And this is called the trim tool. It kind of looks like a trim. And I'm going to extend this. I'm going to trim it actually up instead of down. So right when the video starts, the music is going to start to fade out. So let's listen and see what it does.
Why is your sprinkling system in Utah?
So perfect. That's what I wanted. I wanted the music to start and then to fade out as I start to talk. So now I'm going to hit minus and zoom back out. And we're going to see where we're at. So now you can see there's my exponential fade. Now I got to get my other fade. My fade on this footage is going to be the same thing. It's going to start quiet, and then the music's going to get loud as it goes out. So I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to grab my cursor and make sure I'm on the right-hand corner. And then I'm hitting plus to zoom in. So I got to go find where I'm at right there. I'm going to zoom in we'll zoom in a few more times. There we go. Zoom out once. So here's where I'm going to pick up again. I'm going to have the music start quiet and then get loud as the video ends. So I'm going to grab exponential fade. Now I'm going to put it on the beginning end instead of the ending end because this is where I want it to start. So again, grab my fade, put it in. Now I'm going to grab the exponential fade, drag it across. I want it to start to fade in, and the fade ends right there, then it's at full volume. So let's try that. Click right here to get my cursor there, and we're going to see how that sounds now. Plug up your tank because it will take a few times to push it all out fully, and now I am all ready for the winter. Stop that zoom out, and now you can see, click right here, I'm going to hit minus to zoom out, and now you can see my fades are in there to fade in and out. So the next thing I need to do now that I've trimmed my fades, I have here you can see this is my video footage. This is the sound footage of my video, and then this is my audio footage I added in. The next thing I want to do is I want to put like a little introduction text box telling what the video is about right here, and then at the end the text box saying thanks for watching, video over. So that's our next step. To make the text box, you're going to go at the beginning of the video because that's where you're going to be putting it. So make sure at the beginning. Then you're going to click on this T. When you click on the T, nothing happens that you think of because you haven't done anything yet. But just make sure you're on the T tool, the text tool. Then come up to this box, the black box on the top right, and you're going to draw the area where your text is going to go. So I'm going to make it like right there, and then I'm going to come and type what my video is about. It's going to be how to winterize sprinklers in Utah. Now that I have my text in here, I can kind of separate it how I want to. Maybe I'll come up here on the end and hit enter so that goes together. But on the left hand side, you're going to notice there's some options like change font and whatnot, but it doesn't have all the options. So what I recommend you do is that instead of using these options, you come over and you open up the Essential Graphics box on the right hand side. So to get that, you go to Effects, you click on your effects, and then one of them is Essential Graphics. So in Essential Graphics, I can scroll down and I got more options in this menu. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight this font. I'm going to go choose a style of what I want it to look like. So you can choose any font style you like. I'll just randomly grab one. Then, after you get a font style, you can center it where you want it. And then you can come give it a fill. So the fill is the color of the font. I'm going to go with like a bluish color. Go find the color you want. It shows it right there. I'm going to hit OK. So now you can see it's a bluish color. I'm going to hit enter just to bring it down a little in my box. There we go. And I'm also going to highlight it again, and I want to give it something called a stroke. A stroke is a border around the letters. So I'm going to click on the stroke color, come and find a color I like. That one's good enough. And then right here, I'm going to make the size of the stroke, like how big is the border. So let's try 10. Hit enter, and you can see that green border. So I like that, so I'll just leave it at 10. Now, this text I put in actually inserted right here. You can't see it that well, so I'm going to zoom in by on my keyboard hitting the plus button. So click on this section. So I'm highlighted on this area now. Hit plus. Need to get rid of the plus there. I accidentally typed in. I'm going to now come click back here. You can see this just shows my graphic. So when I play the video, this is what you're going to see. So the next step, what I want to do is I want to make it so it has an effect. So like when it's going through my videos, if it gets to this part of the video, those letters kind of swoop out. So to do so, I'm going to click on graphic. I'm going to come back up to effects. And then I'm going to find a video transition. From video transition, I'm going to go, you choose whatever one you want. There's different types of transitions. I'm going to go with 3D motion. I'm going to grab a cube spin. I grab it, I drag it, I put it right here at the end, and then let's look what it does. Now it's going to kind of spin. You see those letters move? It's going to spin the letters out, and then it comes into my video. So let's go ahead and play that and see how it goes now.
Your sprinkling system in Utah.
Perfect. So I'm going to zoom out now. Click here. So it's highlighted on this box, rectangle box, and minus out. Hit minus button, zoom out. And now I just need to do the same thing, put a text box over here on this end. So the same thing, I just make sure I'm on text box. I come like right here where I want it, and I'll just draw my screen. So then click on text, come up here, move it up over a little more until my box is black. Now we see what I'm doing. So make the box about the space what I want, and then at the end credit I'm just going to type in something simple like thanks for watching, and that's it. And then I'll go back to I'll highlight the text, I'll go back to my essential graphics, and then in here I can go again and find the font I want. I'll go with that font. Go ahead and give it a fill color again. I'll go with like a bluish color, something like that. And then also I like to give a stroke, a border around it. So we'll give it a stroke color, like a greenish again. And then we're also going to do on this one a shadow. So for the shadow, and then I'll make that to like 8. Let's see what a shadow does. I'll give it a little shadow. I'm going to click my shadow, and then I'll give it like a whitish shadow color. And now I'm going to make my font a little bigger, so I'll highlight it, and then over here you have your font style by your font style right here. But this little arrow, that ruler that moves up and down, that's the font size. You can enlarge your font by moving this over, and then I'll go ahead and center it. So now let's go and take a look what it looks like. It's got a little shadow, a tad of a shadow. I'm going to go back down to my shadow, and it's like a a whitish color behind the grayish color. All right, you can also mess around with these other buttons if you want. Try to change your colors up a little. That's up to you. It'll kind of change how the font's facing. This one, the angle of what it's facing, the shadow. So these buttons kind of affect how the shadow fills. All right, now that I have this text right here, I'm going to zoom in so we can see it. I'm going to hit plus and click on this. Oops. See, I hit plus when I was up here, so it actually started typing in a plus. I don't want it to type in a plus, so I'm just going to go ahead and delete that out because that was an accident. And now I got to make sure I'm clicked right here on this rectangle, and I'm going to hit plus to zoom in, see where I'm at. This is where my graphic is, so I'm going to grab it and move it up on this line. So then I'm going to zoom out so you can see it's on the same line as that other graphic right there. All right, now I'm going to zoom back in. I'm going to scoot it all the way over to like right here, so that's when it comes up. And I also want to give this one an effect, this graphic an effect when it comes in. So I'm going to go back up to effects. Again, I'm going to grab video transitions. We've done this before on the first one. And then I like 3D. You can choose whatever ones you want. On the first one, what did I do? Cube spin. So on this one, I'm going to do the other one, which is flip over. So I'm going to grab flip over, and I'm going to put it right here at the beginning. So as the text comes in, it's going to flip it over like so. And then I'm also going to have it flip out when it's done. So have it flip out like so as well. And then I'm going to actually scoot this over a little. So now watch what it does. Showing my video and the text comes up. We'll flip it over. Actually, I liked it where it was. So let's go ahead and play it and see what it does. Perfect. I am all done. You can go ahead and now edit. Make sure to have a fade in or a fade out on your music like I did with an exponential fade. So again, I'm going to zoom out so we can see up close. Click on this rectangle, zoom out. I have my text boxes for my intro, my exit. I have my video right there. And then I have my music fading in and out. The other thing which I've already taught you is how to use this trim tool. If you ever need to trim your videos down, remember how to trim your videos. If you weren't here in class to see, I'm going to hurry and show you how to trim a video. You click on the video footage. You grab this trim button right here. They call it the razor tool. Wherever you put it, it's going to cut your footage. So now I could go back and grab the grab tool. I could like separate that footage if I wanted to, or I could grab the trim tool again. Like I trimmed it already there. Maybe I want to cut this part out, so I trim it there again. And I've trimmed it into 3 different spots. Then I could grab my selection tool, and then these parts I don't want, I could just hit delete and get rid of them. So I hit delete on my keyboard. So that's how you get rid of parts you don't want. You just use the trim tool. You find the separation. If you need to zoom in, you can zoom in, like find the specific part, and then trim it out. Trim on both ends, like trim there, and then trim there. And then you grab the selection tool and delete that part out that you don't want. So I could right click and hit clear, or I could just hit the delete button on my keyboard. Okay, best of luck on your project. Now that I have finished editing the video, I'm ready to export it and create an MP4 document. So to do so, I go up to File. I then go and find Export, and then from there I'll hit Media. When I hit Media, this menu will come up. The first thing I want to double check is that my format is on H.264. I need to make my preset, go down and scroll to the bottom and find YouTube 1080p. That is the standard document conversion you'd want to use in the preset. You could use YouTube 2160, which is a 4K video, but that will take a lot longer to convert. The standard is a 1080, so go ahead with 1080s. On the output name, that is where I'm going to click on the actual name of my assignment, and then it's going to bring up the folders for me to go and save it. So I'm going to go to my documents, my digital literacy folder, my strand 3, my video. Then I'll make sure it has the name I want it to be under, and then I will hit save there, and now it shows where it's going to be saving to. So now I have everything ready to export. I'm going to go to the bottom, and I'm going to hit export. It's going to first go through the encoding process, and it's going to take a while as it breaks your video and converts it in, breaks your video down and converts it into an MP4. So while it's doing this, you're going to have to wait. but I've already done this, so I'll show you what it'll look like. We're going to go into our folders and see what it will look like when it's finished. So I'm going to go into my documents, my digital literacy, strand 3, video. And then inside of here, this is what you'll have. You'll have an MP4 file when it's all finished, like you see I have right here. You'll take that MP4 file and you'll then submit that to Canvas once you're finished with everything. So best of luck and adios.